Grr, bow. What up, what up, what up, y'all? I want to welcome y'all back to another episode of the Trifecta Podcast. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on notification button on, man. We're going strong throughout the whole playoffs, man. It's been an amazing playoffs, exciting. It's a lot of good teams in the second round, man. So I'm excited to break this down for you guys. I already offer my opinions, share my stats, my prediction, my reviews, all that good stuff, man. So once again, like, comment, subscribe, and turn that notification button on, man. We're going real strong. Next up, we got Dallas versus the Oklahoma City Thunder, man. So I was really excited for this series, man. As soon as I seen that OKC swept the Pelicans, as soon as I seen Dallas beat the Clippers in 6, I instantly got excited, man, because there's a lot of star power in this series, man. I like the two matchups with the stars in terms of SGA. Jalen Williams is coming into his own as a star. And, of course, we got the dynamic duo of Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, man. But let's get into some of the stats. So, season series, 1-3 in favor of the Oklahoma City Thunder. So it's not too much to gauge here in terms of the overall stats of how it played out. The Stars only playing one of those games out of the 4. All right, but we're going to get into some of those stats anyways. So during the 4-game season series, all right, Mavericks had a 115 offensive rating and a 122 defensive rating, all right? So a -7 net rating. But as I said before, both of the stars on both sides only played in one of those games. The other games, either it was just Kyrie Irving or just Luka Doncic. In the last game, neither of the stars played on both sides, all right? So we have to take that into consideration as well. But in the one game that the stars did play, as I mentioned, Dallas has won that game, all right? Luka Doncic is averaging 34 points per game, 11 rebounds, 13 assists, shooting 55% from the field, 43 from 3. So he's been lighting them up. Kyrie Irving, 30 points, 5 rebounds, 10 assists for Kyrie Irving. 62% from the field, 43% from 3, all right? So looking at the matchups, I think matchups are going to be a big thing in this series, all right? Because as I mentioned before, they do have two stars on both sides. So Lou Dort will most likely get the assignment on Luka Doncic. In the games that Luka Doncic did play this season versus Oklahoma City Thunder, he was 8 for 14 when guarded by Lou Dort, all right? So he was having his way with Lou Dort. Lou Dort's a very good defender. He was also 4 for 8 on threes. Kyrie Irving, Jalen Williams will probably get the assignment on him. All right, Kyrie was 5 for 9 versus Jalen Williams, 2 for 5 on threes. All right, so the stars were getting their way. But as I mentioned, it's not a great determining factor to go by. All right, SGA played very well. He's averaging over 25 points per game versus Dallas Mavericks. J-Dub, not so much. He's 1 for 6 when guarded by PJ Washington. So that's something to kind of look at for you guys in the series. But overall, man, I think they will play a lot better. So I just want to look at 2 games, all right, that they played in the regular season, specifically the games that happened after the trade deadline. So after the trade deadline, when the Dallas Mavericks picked up Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington, they were a completely different team, all right? They were top 5 in the league in defense. So that really changed their defensive ceiling. Their offense stayed pretty good as well. And in their last 25 games of the season, they had a top 3 record, all right? So they ended the regular season really strong. So some interesting stats to look at, all right? So in the 2 games after the trade deadline when Dallas and OKC played, Dallas won the fast break points, all right? 42-20. Second chance points, OKC actually won that matchup, 40-35. And points in the paint, Dallas won that 118-76. So I find this really interesting because of the contrast in teams, all right? So Oklahoma City is known to be a fast-paced team. They get out in transition. They were top 5 in fast break points this year. Notably, Dallas was top 10, all right? So Dallas can also push the pace as well. In terms of second chance points, OKC is not a great rebounding team. That's actually their Achilles heel. That's why many analysts kind of slept on them being a team that could go far into the playoffs, all right? Chet Holmgren's a really good player, a really good rookie, but he's still thin, all right? And I expect bigger players to kind of dominate that matchup. And points in the paint, I do feel it will go either way. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is great at getting to the paint whenever he wants. So is Kyrie Irving, so is Luka Doncic. But something that is notable to look at is the Dallas Mavericks pace, all right? So in the first series versus the Clippers, they had a 91 pace. In the regular season, they had a 100 pace, all right? So their pace was -9 in the Los Angeles Clippers series, right? So paces is going to be the same for both teams. But in my opinion, Dallas should have dictated that pace better because they're overall a better paced team than the Los Angeles Clippers, all right? The Clippers want to play in the half court. They got 3 stars that are very good in the half court. Dallas, they have 2 stars who are good in the half court, but they actually play very well in transition, all right? Kyrie Irving gets the ball in transition. He shoots a lot of pull-up threes. He gets the ball on the outlet. He pushes it, gets guy open dunks, open layups. They have a lot of athletes as well. PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford is a great rim runner. Derek Lively is a great rim runner. Derrick Jones Jr. is a high flyer. So they got a lot of guys that can run up and down the floor. So I think they do need to do that more. even though I do think during this series the pace will naturally be higher because the Thunder do play at a higher pace, so the pace is just going to be higher based off of the Thunder's play. But I do think Dallas needs to get more transition points and keep the fast break point differential kind of in the same ballpark. So Dallas's keys to winning, all right? They must be more physical than OKC, all right? They can crash the offensive glass, get themselves more possession. That only works in their favor. OKC is not a great defensive rebounding team. They're actually bottom of the league in defensive rebounding percentage, so they must take advantage of that, get second chance points. Like I said before, Chet is really, really light in the ass, all right? So Daniel Gafford, some great rebounder. Derek Lively has been really good on rebound as well, man. He's top 15 in the playoffs so far in offensive and defensive rebounding percentage for a guy that has played 15 minutes or up, all right? So for a rookie, that's very, very good. I expect him to be a good factor. He's also very good in the short roll, all right? So if OKC happens to blitz Luka or Kyrie on those ball screens, or they could dump it down to Derek Lively on the short roll, he's good at making the right read. He doesn't do too much, not trying to call his own number. He makes the right pass, gets the defense in a rotation, helps guys attack closeouts better. All right, so he's really good in that position as well. And they have more depth at the big spot than the Oklahoma City Thunder. So they have Lively, they have Gafford that can rotate in and out and make Chet get in foul trouble, right? Out rebound Chet. And last series for Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Pelicans, Chet got out rebounded by Jonas Valanciunas. He played 10 less minutes than Chet Holmgren. Larry Nance Jr. had 33 rebounds in the series to Chet's 35. Larry Nance only played 21 minutes to Chet's 32. All right, so they out-rebounded Chet or damn near rebounding the same as Chet in less minutes. So I expect Dallas to do the same thing. They have legit 7-footers on that team that are very strong as well. So I think they need to take advantage of that as well. So Dallas is not the Pelicans. All right, they're going to shoot a lot better from the field. Lou Dort is not going to put Luka Doncic under the jail cell like he did Brandon Ingram. It's just not going to happen. Now, I do think Lou Dort will have a significant effect on Luka Doncic, especially with his injury right now. He's a little banged up. I don't think it'll be as efficient. I think Lou Dort is a good pest and a very stocky defender that can kind of get into your airspace and make you uncomfortable. Lastly, Dallas must not turn the ball over, man. So they average 15 turnovers per game versus the Thunder in the regular season. They can't do that, man. OKC likes to run out and get fast break points and transition points, man. They're already a very young, athletic team. So if you give these guys open shots to the break, especially at their home court, all right, they're just going to blow you out the water, man. So OKC versus the Mavs, OKC side. So the season series was 3-1 in favor of the Oklahoma City Thunder. All right, a big thing to look at is matchups with this series, man. So the matchups are going to tell a lot. These two teams are kind of similar in their star power. They got the two stars at the top, even though I do think OKC has better role players, man. So we'll get into that. But as I mentioned earlier, 3-1 season series. All right, SGA played really well versus the bigs. He was 8 for 8 versus Dallas's bigs. All right, so Dallas cannot switch on this dude, man. It's gonna be Hibachi every single time, man. Top 2 MVP candidate. Probably should have been MVP candidate, but that's neither here or there. They cannot allow the switch on SGA, man. They must stay. They must keep either PJ Washington or Derrick Jones Jr. on him at all times, all right? Make him into a three-point shooter, if anything, but do not let him get to the foul line, all right? I think a team like the Boston Celtics is actually a very good team to guard Oklahoma City Thunder because Boston Celtics are the best team in the NBA and not allowing free throw attempts, all right? So they don't allow guys to get to the line whenever they want. I think they're only allowing 12 free throws per game. So they've been really good in that category, man. A guy like SGA, if you get him to the line 13, 14 times, he's going to get his 35 points, all right? So you cannot foul SGA if you're the Dallas Mavericks, man. But besides just SGA just doing him and being a great player, they have shot really well versus the Dallas Mavericks, man. So they're making 16.8 threes made per game, man. That's really good. That's above league average there. And they have a lot of really good three-point options, all right? J-Dub is a 40% three-point shooter. Josh Giddey last series was a 50% three-point shooter. He made 2 threes per game. Lou Dort made 53% of his threes in last series versus New Orleans Pelicans. And they got 40% three-point shooters in the regular season all over the court, man, coming off the bench. Isaiah Joe, Kason Wallace, man, they got a lot of really good three-point shooters, man. So expect these dudes to shoot the lights out. And if they do that, they give themselves a great chance to win. Also, can they force turnovers, all right? So they're forcing Dallas to commit 15 turnovers per game. All right, that's the third highest versus any team this season. All right, so it's clear they can make Dallas uncomfortable. All right, they must continue to do that. And they cannot get beat on the offensive glass, man. It's no secret that the OKC Thunder are not a great defensive rebounding team. All right, they're very thin, but they have a lot of length, which makes their defense good, but their rebounding percentage very, very low. All right, so they must not give these guys second and third possessions, man. You give Kyrie Irving second and third possessions, Luka second and third possessions, you're going to get burned like that, man. So you must keep the offensive rebounding to a minimum, or at least close the gap, all right? So, for example, in the last series, the Pelicans averaged 12.3 offensive rebounds per game to the Thunder's 7.5, all right? They still won that series, but that's just because they shot a lot better than the Pelicans. The Pelicans just couldn't shoot for shit, all right? So Dallas shoot a lot better from the field, so if they could close that gap from like a 5-point differential to maybe 3, I think that works in their favor with their shot making and their 3-point shooters as well. All right, how are you going to guard Luka? I think Lou Dort will get the assignment on Luka. He's big enough, strong enough to guard Luka. He just has to be disciplined on his shot fakes. And I think he can actually do a pretty good job on Luka, man. Luka's kind of hurt right now. He's dealing with some type of injury. So I don't expect Luka to be at his full capacity. And he hasn't shot the ball really well this playoffs either, man. He's shooting 26% from 3. Barely holding on to 40% from the field. All right, so he's not having a great playoff series, man, even though he's averaging damn near triple-double. Hasn't been very efficient. Kyrie Irving, on the other hand, has been very efficient, all right? So I think Jalen Williams has to do the best job he can. I mean, easier said than done, guarding someone like Kyrie Irving, man. But if you could kind of control Kyrie Irving and make him inefficient as well, make Luka and Kyrie inefficient, that works in your favor, man. So if you could be physical, provide length, speed the pace up, man. The Thunder were top 5 in pace this season. Dallas was top 10 in pace as well, so not that far of a gap. But last playoff series, man, Dallas had a 91 pace. All right, in the regular season, they were at 100, so way below their average in the regular season. Some of that is due to the Clippers' pace. The pace is kind of going to balance out. It's going to be the same pace for both teams. But Dallas could have sped the pace up if they wanted to. I think Luka Doncic just doesn't like to outlet the ball. He plays very slow. He's just naturally very slow. So the more time that he just gets the rebound and walks the ball up, or doesn't push the ball. Kyrie Irving, for example, pushes the ball anytime he gets the board or he gets an outlet pass. I think Dallas is actually better in those situations, all right? They give themselves more variety to score, all right? In the half court, we know Luka Doncic is going to score. We know Kyrie is going to score. But in the half court, it gives guys time to load up on Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, all right? So loading up is essentially, say, for example, Luka Doncic is doing an ISO on the right wing, all right? Say Chet is guarding Daniel Gafford, all right? Daniel Gafford will most likely be in the dunker spot, all right? You don't want him same side block. It's going to get in the way, all right? You want him in a dunker spot. So Luka blows by his defender. He could throw the lob to Daniel Gafford, man. So in that situation, Chet would just be in the same side block, providing that extra help for whoever guarding Luka Doncic, man. And somebody will cover down on Daniel Gafford to avoid the lob, man. So I think Dallas must get out in transition, man. They can't keep settling for these half-court possessions, man, because they're just going to find ways. It's the playoffs, man. They're going to find ways to make you your worst version of yourselves, take Luka to his worst tendencies, make him overthink, make him turn the ball over. And if you're the Thunder, that's what you want, all right? So keep the pace high, man, for yourselves. Limit offensive rebound. Grab the defensive rebound, all right? Keep the rebounding gap kind of within, 5 to 6, and not 10 to 12. I think you give yourself the best chance to win, man. I like your role players a lot. I like your role players better than Dallas's role players. They can make more shots. All right, they move the ball more. They have more variety on the offensive end. Defensively, they're really good as well, man. So I think it's going to be a really long series. I really can't call it either way. But gun to my head, if I had to pick a team, man, I'm going to go OKC. All right, I think they have home court advantage, so that works in their favor. Their crowd has been rocking, man. They have better just overall talent in terms of their role players. All right, I think Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic is the best talent you're going to get in the league. But once you X those guys out, who is it really? All right, P.J. Washington, really good player, right? Not as talented as Chet Holmgren, Derrick Jones Jr., not as talented as Lou Dort. So I think the Thunder has better role players, and as long as those two stars in OKC could kind of match the production of Kyrie and Luka, I think I think they'll get the job done if that's the case, man. But they must do that. The gap cannot be that wide. It can't be like Dallas and the Clippers, where Kyrie and Luka's both averaging damn near 30, and Paul George and James Harden are averaging barely 20. It can't be that type of gap, all right? If you close that gap from 30 points per game from the two stars in Dallas to maybe 25 and 28 from J-Dub and SGA, I think you give yourself the best chance to win. Hence, I think that will happen, and I give OKC the win in 7. They will be moving on to the Western Conference Finals for the first time since Kevin Durant. All right, so very bright future for these guys at OKC. Look forward to seeing what they do in the future.